Welcome to Tokyo Wave, recorded in a live studio in Harajuku, Japan, with your hosts Aaron and Parker. Alright everyone, welcome to episode 142 of Tokyo Wave. We're your hosts Aaron Randall
and Parker Allen. On Tokyo Wave, we bring you weekly updates from our studio in Harajuku.
Join us in segments featuring this week's top news,
political happenings,
business,
and other random garbage.
To get us started, here are this week's top news highlights.
Prime Minister Kishida vows stronger steps for recovery of central Japan earthquake.
Kyoto Animation arsonist found guilty of murder, sentenced to death.
Retired Japan bullet train snack carts up for sale.
This week in Japan. Alright, so our first story. Prime Minister Kishida vows stronger steps for recovery of central Japan quake.
Kyoto News has reported that Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has pledged to take stronger steps for the recovery of a central Japan region devastated by a New Year's Day earthquake.
Kishida has announced the establishment of a headquarters, which he will lead, dedicated to formulating and executing reconstruction measures in the wake of the magnitude 7.6 earthquake that struck the Noto Peninsula in Ishikawa Prefecture on the Sea of Japan coast, claiming over 230 lives.
Kishida said, quote, "I will be responsible for the restoration of the Noto region and for the return of disaster victims who are forced to evacuate from their homes."
The Prime Minister referred to the government's recent decision to double the reserve funds earmarked in the draft budget for fiscal 2024 starting April and vowed to exert efforts with the mindset of, quote, "doing everything for quake recovery."
The funds were raised to 1 trillion yen, which is $6.8 billion US dollars.
Alright, so our next story. Kyoto Animation arsonist found guilty of murder, sentenced to death.
The Mainichi has reported that Shinji Aoba was handed a death sentence after being found guilty of murder and other charges at the Kyoto District Court on January the 25th over the 2019 Kyoto Animation arson attack that claimed the lives of 36 people and injured 32 more.
The focus of the lay judge trial was whether Aoba, 45 years old, could be held criminally responsible for his actions and the level of his cognitive ability at the time. However, presiding judge Keisuke Masuda stated that there were no indications the defendant was mentally impaired or weakened, determining that the accused has full criminal responsibility.
The July 18th, 2019 fire at the Kyoto Animation Studio 1 in Kyoto's Fushimi Ward was the deadliest arson case since the Heisei era, and the prosecution sought the death penalty. Prosecutors called the arson, quote, "an unprecedentedly heinous crime," arguing that Aoba was driven to set the blaze by his aggressive nature and not by his delusions, which they stated, quote, "did not extend to being an imminent threat to himself," meaning that he was fully criminally responsible.
The defense, meanwhile, stated that Aoba's mental disorder was severe, claiming he had been under the overwhelming influence of his delusions for over 10 years. His attorney argued, at the time of the incident, he had lost the ability to distinguish between good and evil and control his actions, asserting that he was in a state of mental incapacity that invalidated criminal prosecution. They also argued against the death penalty carried out by hanging as cruel and an unsuitable choice. I don't know why it hasn't gotten more press coverage and been on TV more. Because I remember when I first heard about it.
It was huge.
It was huge. And foreign media reported on this one a lot. Because it's yeah, like you said, it's a huge fucking deal. And it's totally insane. I am glad that they did pass this judgment. Because it's absolutely terrible. And, you know, obviously losing the lives of anyone is a tragedy. This particular animation studio, though, was known globally. They produced a lot of anime that was like loved by, you know, millions of people worldwide. But, you know, domestically, I feel like they didn't really It went through the normal news cycle and kind of disappeared.
Yeah, I think obviously we heard a lot about it when it happened, but now this judgment has come and you didn't really hear about it that much. So I think it's something that should have gotten more coverage, and it's really sort of a mystery as to why it didn't.
No, for sure.
Death by hanging, though, that's pretty tough, right?
I didn't know they still did that in Japan.
They hang you.
Is it like the hangings back like in the Old West in the US, like the plank, like or on like the pirate ships?
Well, they don't really publicize how they do it, so it's hard to say, but I mean, I guess you have to walk the plank. And up next, retired Japan bullet train snack carts up for sale.
The Mainichi has also reported that retired snack carts used on the Shinkansen bullet trains in Japan will go on sale to the public via a lottery, the operating company announced on January the 23rd.
JR Central Retailing Plus, which handles onboard services for bullet trains, will sell 50 retired wagons for 100,000 yen, which is about 680 USD, each including shipping. The carts were used on the Tokaido Shinkansen lines, Nozomi and Hikari trains until October 2023, when the company ended the service.
We talked about this on a previous episode.
Yeah, and it was really sort of came out of nowhere that they were going to end this snack cart service, which is so convenient. You know, they come on the snack cart and they're like, you want some coffee, you want some booze, you want some juice, we got it all.
Yeah. It was cool. It was very cool. Sad to hear that it's ending. A company representative said, "We hope that the carts, which were part of bullet train services for a long time, can be put to good use. Applications will be accepted only via the internet from January 29th to February 5th. Oof, it's a short window.
Yeah, I guess a lot of people are going to bid on these, but what are you going to do with an old snack cart?
I don't know. I don't trust Japanese websites either. I feel like that site's going to go down.
Oh, yeah, it's going to crash immediately.
Yeah, what is that? It's like 7 days or something, or 8 days? I don't know.
They're going to sell out in like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So, snack cart services began in 1964 when the Shinkansen started operations. In recent years, the variety of products available within stations has increased, leading to a decrease in onboard sales, and the snack carts were retired last year after a history of about 60 years.
There were many voices expressing regret over the end of the train cart services, with some passengers taking photos with sales attendants. Instead of disposing of the retired carts, the company decided to sell them via a lottery so that people could put them to good use.
I remember I was going up to Iwate Prefecture with a band to perform a live event for local people, and I had just come from Okinawa, and it was a really tight schedule because we were going on the last Shinkansen that goes to Iwate.
Yeah.
And I was literally on the platform 5 minutes before the train left because I was coming from Haneda Airport, had to take a taxi, had to run. It was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And then I finally got on the train and met these guys, and a snack cart came by, and I bought every beer they had.
Nice. They were selling like craft beers on those things. I think I saw a few times.
Really? Yeah. There were a lot of cool stuff. You know, there's also that extra hard ice cream that everybody liked.
Yeah.
It was like brick hard, and you had to like wait 20 minutes to eat it because it was so so frozen.
Yeah.
So these carts, the size of each cart is 110 centimeters in height, 94 centimeters in length, and 33 centimeters in width. All of the carts up for sale were actually used on bullet trains, and no cleaning or repairs will be done to them ahead of the sale. Wouldn't that suck if you got a broken one?
Yeah, but who knows? I feel like these are actually going to go up in value a lot.
Like collector's items.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to be all over the auction sites.
You know, when we started talking about this, I'm like, who the hell would want one of those? But now I'm like thinking, might be kind of nice. You know, it's going to
have a snack cart.
Yeah. 10x in value over the next couple of years as well. So to apply for the lottery, one must be an adult, agree to the rules such as ban on resales, be able to communicate via email, and be able to receive the wagon by the end of February, among other terms and conditions. Applications are limited to 1 time per person, but each person can apply for up to 2 wagons.
Who's gonna buy 2?
I don't know. Also, what is this no resale thing?
How do you enforce that, though? I mean, once you've sold the cart...
You can't enforce it.
Oh, yeah, those are going to be on Yahoo Auctions for sure.
This is the resale, country. Everything's resale.
Yeah, we're going to see them at Hard Off.
Yeah, they'll have one at some Hard Off for 10 years just sitting there, accumulating in value.
I gotta say that I went to Hard Off. I've actually been to this one for very many times, and they always have this pair of massive tannoy speakers, and they're 900,000 yen.
Oh, wow.
And they're so big. They're as big as a person.
Oh, really?
And it looks so cool. But it's 900,000 yen.
Yeah. For the set or for
the set.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, super, high tier mixing and mastering speakers go for about that, I'd say.
Yeah, these are just massive loudspeakers. Literally, they're imposingly large. And you think in Japan, who has a house big enough for these massive speakers? I guess that's why they've been there for so long.
Yeah. Were they used for industrial purposes or commercial purposes?
No, I think they're just really big speakers for someone who would just really wants to have ridiculously large speakers in their house.
Yeah.
Which is a club that I would like to be a member of.
For sure.
Yeah, just add this to the list of random things you can buy, right? Snack carts.
Yeah. Yep, there you go. All right, and up next on Weird Thing of the Week, Tokyo government to release official dating app.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Tokyo Wave.
GG News recently reported that the Tokyo Metropolitan Government is releasing their own dating app with the security that only the world's largest bureaucracy can provide.
The app is aimed at those 18 and up who are living, working, or studying in Tokyo. It also is said to utilize AI to find suitable pairings of users based on their personal info and a questionnaire, much like other dating apps.
This is just hilarious. They're going to have a dating app. The Tokyo Metropolitan Government.
Yeah, this is the first time I've heard of anything like this. I mean, maybe in China they do stuff like this. Government controlled
dating apps.
Yeah, but
this is ridiculous.
Yeah, a lot of weird things could go wrong, and weird things will happen from this.
Yeah, and I wonder, how is the government going to be responsible for this?
Yeah.
It just seems like a disaster waiting to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So what sets this app apart is the government-backed vetting process, which requires users to provide their marital status and income, as well as take part in an online interview, like an actual interview, to confirm their identity. While people might be reluctant to provide personal info such as proof of income to a private company, submitting such things to the government is nothing new.
But putting all that data out on the internet and potentially having a native iOS and Android Google Play app, that's hackers' number one target. Chinese hackers' number one target just became this app.
Yep.
All this
get hacked.
These verification documents and stuff. Oh my God, there's so much you could do, right? If you get access to someone's account and all the stuff they've uploaded, forget about it. I mean, overnight, yeah. I don't trust Japanese apps or websites either.
I also think for a dating app, why do you need to confirm your income? Isn't that kind of weird?
It is weird, but I have seen there are lots of apps where they try to attract richer old men to get on the platform, or richer old women. There's both sides, right? They want to make one, it's young women looking for richer old men, or young men looking for richer old women. And they do have some kind of vetting process on those private apps, but doing it on a government level, it just sounds like a recipe for disaster. And also you're disclosing extra information to the government that's not required. I think
that's really weird.
It's bad practice.
Really, really weird.
It's bad digital hygiene. You're never supposed to give extra information digitally on anything, especially to a government, and like what about like foreigners like submitting this information? I mean,
I don't know about you, but this makes me want to put on my tinfoil hat.
oh, I mean, I don't think anyone should use this app
No, it's absolutely ridiculous.
unless they have some kind of like Juman, Hyakuman in back if you get married, or like if you do 10 dates, maybe you get like,
You
100
get points.
You get point. Yeah,
You can use them at Staya.
yeah. But it's
I went on 10 dates and then I got to rent a movie for free.
but honestly, since it is government backed, it's not too crazy to think that they will give some kind of subsidy for people that are active and going on lots of dates. Like I could see that maybe that's the
The
reason.
app will like goad you, like, you haven't met your quota. You have
Yeah.
to reach your quota for society.
Yeah. I mean, that angle is actually really interesting because if you don't have that, then yeah, you have to do like a point system or some kind of like small cashback, team up with Amazon and get like an Amazon gift card or some crap. But if it's the government, they can like direct deposit money into your bank account.
I went on so many dates, I got a free Nintendo Switch.
Yeah. Stuff like that. I mean, yeah, I don't know how they would qualify that kind of stuff either, because I feel like people, yeah, I don't know.
They want the points.
Yeah.
Do it for the points.
Also, another thing to say about dating apps don't want people to meet, to fall in love, and to get married. Dating apps don't make money from that model or from that user flow. They want people to remain single. Because if you are single, you're going to use the app over and over and over again.
And they charge like a monthly fee, right?
Yes, there's subscription models, there's advertising, there's a plethora of dating apps worldwide, and especially in Japan, the market's already saturated. But it's very confusing why the government is backing this idea, because the model of dating apps and I think the customer perception of what customers are used to is dating apps do not provide a platform to find someone to actually get married to. And as a matter of fact, a lot of people that get married via dating apps end up getting divorced too. So it's like,
Whoa, I didn't know that.
yeah, I mean, I got to look that up. I mean, this is like 5-6-year-old data. You actually introduced me to a guy who's into dating apps, and me and him, as a Japanese dude, we had a couple discussions and we're talking long discussions. Like, we would hang out all day and like talk about how we would structure an app, and we did a lot of research. And it turned out that, dating apps actually don't help people get married. And we were actually, some of the stuff that came up was like, maybe we could get some money from the government because we're actually, helping people connect and get married, etc., have children. But, like Tinder and stuff, it's just, that's not their model. Their model.
They want to keep people in the system.
Yeah. So the basic system for this app has been in place since last December in a limited trial using a browser version and government employees and people who took part in government matchmaking events. Their feedback will be used to make improvements to the service moving forward. It also appears that the browser version is open for anyone on the Tokyo Futari Store website to register, while the app is still awaiting release.
Online reaction to the news has been lukewarm, with many pointing out that the government is once again trying to deal with the declining birth rate without tackling the obvious underlying causes, such as economic stability and less demanding work schedules.
Social media comments include,
Is Tokyo tax money going towards this? If this is meant to tackle late marriage and declining birth rates, then even a layman like myself thinks that other things need to be done. But maybe I'm wrong, and a dating app is a last resort.
I don't know how matchmaking works, but the government should probably stay out of weird stuff like this.
I tried to sign up for the browser version, but they required a photo studio, so I never bothered.
That will push a lot of users away. Older people might use this, but they won't help the birth rate, and this is too much hassle for younger people. Yeah, this will be a great case study, actually, just to watch how all this unfolds.
I think it's going to be a massive failure. It just seems so gross.
Yeah, I mean, did they release any information on because the thing about saying we're just going to release a dating app. If you're a government entity, a private entity, the reaction is going to be from specifically developer community and tech industry. So what, right? So what? What does your app do that differentiates it? Oh, well, it helps connect people. so what? I have like 100 options here in Tokyo for that.
Now you have 101, like Dalmatians.
They've got to be doing something different, though. I mean, if they came out and they're like, if you use this app for like 3 hours a day for a month, you can get like a subsidy, like Jumanen or Ichimanen or something. But they haven't come out with like, what's the big differentiator?
Yeah, I really wonder what the end game is here. It just seems like it's destined to fail.
Yeah. But it's going to make an incredible case study. I mean, like,
it's probably the first time that a government, like a friggin' actual government entity, has made a dating app.
Yeah. Without like looking at other stuff, I would say it's probably the first time like a non-oppressive government has done something like this. Like, I mean, I could imagine certain companies like enforcing this kind of thing, like, you know.
You must date.
Yeah. You know, Japan is so funny, and the Japanese government is so funny. They come out with all these initiatives, and it just seems like it's just like the visa process. It's like, oh, how do you get a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year? It's almost like a guy's like in the back, like flipping a coin, or like they're throwing, you know, like something on the wall, and if it sticks in one area, that's where they get it. It's like last year they came out with a huge PDF that looked like it was made in like, you know, PowerPoint by someone who doesn't really know how to design or do anything well, and it was all about Bitcoin and Web3, and now Square Enix is doubling down too. They want to make like 3 gigantic Web3 games, and the gaming community is like, we don't like Web3. It's not yet, you know, like nobody's really into that stuff yet. Like, so it's like so blatantly obvious that your target user base is not interested in this potential product, you know, and it doesn't take an Einstein. Like you could, you know, you could be like the most dim-witted idiot and do a couple Google searches and be like, hey boss, I don't think people will actually be interested in this. As a matter of fact, dating apps, they don't really do what we're trying to do right here.
Yeah, I wonder for this Tokyo Metropolitan Government sponsored dating app, if you're a government employee, it like ups your level of points.
Ooh, yeah.
Can you imagine that? It's like, you know,
That's so bureaucratic. And
look, he's a government employee, steady income for life. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
But then that creates a new incentive, which is to get more people working for the government. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't know. Are they going to also give extra points to shachos, people that own their own companies?
Yeah, it's really, it's so creepy and weird, the fact that this is happening, but it just makes you think about, like, what's the most ridiculous thing that can happen? And also this, like, proof of income statement, like, it's so weird. It's so yucky.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, what is it? Like the Noze Shomisho, Kazai Shomisho? That's the proof of income, right? That you get
I
from
wonder if they're actually going to require the documentation. Like, you have to go to, like, the tax bureau to get a document to sign up for a dating app.
That is so dangerous to store that information anywhere. Like, even in Japan, if you're applying for a visa or whatever, they give you a printout. You give that printout to, you know, lawyer or the immigration office. They're not making, like, you know, lots of photocopies of these things and storing them even on like local servers or anything. So, you know, with an app, you have to store everything in a database, and that's accessible by the, like, usually the front end of the application. That's how hackers get into stuff, you know. And I'm sure that the security is going to be terrible on this.
Oh yeah, it just, like I said this time and time again, it just sounds like a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I think a much better solution would be to partner with a private company that knows what they're doing and be like, hey, we want to actually make babies. Can you make a product for us
to make babies
and optimize it using your 10 to 20 years of experience doing this? Wink, wink, Tinder. Go to Tinder, you know, and get them to build the platform for you. You know? Yeah,
I wonder, like, who's going to actually build this app? Like, who are they going to hire to build the official Tokyo Metropolitan Government dating app?
Well, Shinkolabs, my company, is an app developer and a game developer, and we would love to develop this app, and we can do a great job. You know, there's no way we'll get the contract.
Yeah, Governor Koike, listen up. We want to help make your dating app. We will help you make the babies for Tokyo.
With this crap, though, it's always like, they outsource to someone who outsources someone else, and then it turns out that it's just two Chinese dudes that made the app.
Yep.
This happened with what was it, Mizuho or some other big bank outsourced some work, like some tech or development work. And it ended up it was literally outsourced 5 times. And the guys who did it were just two Chinese dudes.
What? That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And it's like a multi-billion-dollar company's project.
That's probably what's going to happen with this app.
It'll include all the backdoors that China needs to get access to it as well.
Great.
Hey, listeners, that's right. You listener right there.
Who do you think should be our next guest on Tokyo Wave? Let us know. Drop us a line at wave@tokyowave.jp or hit us up on Twitter or X.
We hope you enjoyed Tokyo Wave.
If you haven't already, you can subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, and YouTube.
Join us again next week on Tokyo Wave.